Good afternoon, everyone. So, has the monsoon finally arrived in Delhi? Ki nahi, we will not call this as a monsoon. For monsoon, there has to be 3 continuous days of a rainfall. So, well, let us see today, tomorrow, and if it is day after tomorrow, and if the wind direction is southwest, then it is a monsoon. Otherwise, this is a thunderstorm, right? Nothing else. Thunderstorm, heating, air is going up, and convection. But otherwise, it is not a monsoon. No need of drawing anything. So that is the basic difference between the isostasy concept of Airy and Pratt. Airy says equal density, different heights. Pratt says different densities and therefore different height, but the equal level of compensation. Kya hai basic idea? He is saying these are made up of different densities and therefore different heights and different root. Ye kehta hai same high density. Fine. Level of compensation is same. That is the basic difference. So first we will write the concept of Airy. Airy's concept of isostasy. Airy opposed, or Airy gave his concept of isostasy. Airy gave his concept of isostasy in which the stress was on. Airy gave the concept of isostasy in which the stress was on. Yeah, he focused on. मतलब he stress was on. कौन सा law है ये? 9 parts are below, 1 part is below above the surface of the earth. जितना ज़्यादा height, उतना deeper is the root. This is the law of flotation, in which the stress was on the law of flotation. Law of flotation. Float कर रहे हैं सब कुछ. Everyone is floating. तो किस में float कर रहा है? Cl is floating on सीमा. Full stop के बाद he suggested that continents are made up of lighter Cl. Full stop के बाद he suggested that continents are made up of lighter Cl, which is floating on denser seema. Lighter Cl floating on denser seema. Why we are doing this? क्योंकि क्वेश्चन आएगा comparison between these two views. आंसर लिखते लिखते देख लेना points as we are proceeding. We have to compare these two. Is this on the law of flotation? No, this is on the law of compensation. एक level के बाद this is the law of flotation. So Cl floats on seema. जितना lighter is the Cl, उतना ज़्यादा will be the height of mountains. जितना denser is the Cl में also there is a variation. So lighter rocks like Himalayas, denser rocks plateaus. So इसलिए height of the plateau is less and the height of the Himalayas is more. Fine? Getting it? Everyone? Lighter है. Himalayas are made up of lighter rocks as per Airy. Lighter rocks means these are the rocks which are not that dense. They don't have iron, they don't have denser minerals. So what they do? They float. इसलिए height of the Himalayas is greater. Height of peninsular plateau is lesser because they are made up of denser rocks. हो सकता है, maybe he is right, because we find the iron ore only in peninsular plateau. Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Karnataka, Maharashtra, this is the region of iron ore. Aravalli is Rajasthan, this is the region of iron ore. Iron ore you do not find in Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, etc. So is iron denser? Yes. So according to him, Himalayas were not just a surface feature. Himalayas are not just a surface feature. मतलब हिमालयास को सिर्फ surface rocks मत सोचो. Not just a surface feature, but are the lighter rocks of the mountains. But the lighter rocks of the mountains extend. Lighter rocks of the mountains extend up to considerable depth. Up to considerable depth into the Seema. Up to considerable depth up to the Seema. Considerable depth up to the Seema. Read the statement again and tell me whether everyone has understood or not. Into considerable depth into the Seema. Seema. Have you understood the statement? What is the meaning of statement? Tell me. नहीं एरी का कंसेप्ट टोटली राइट नहीं है. ये तो मैं आपको एरिस का ये स्टेटमेंट से क्या समझे हो? क्यों मैं स्टेटमेंट समझने की? क्योंकि एग्जैक्टली सेम लैंग्वेज वोंट बी रेप्लिकेटेड इन द एग्जाम. यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड द कंसेप्ट एंड राइट द कंसेप्ट इन द. Yes. What you have understood? Huh? What same thing? और हिमालयाज आर हल्के लेस डेंसर रॉक्स, इसलिए वो फ्लोट कर रहे हैं. फिर लॉ ऑफ फ्लोटेशन वो अप्लाई करता है. सो जितना हिमालय का हाइट है, अकॉर्डिंग टू द लॉ ऑफ फ्लोटेशन 9 पार्ट्स आर बिलो. किस पे फ्लोट कर रहा है? इन सीमा. वाई सीमा? रिमेंबर द लेक्चर. सीमा इज मेड अप ऑफ silica, magnesium, iron. They are more denser. NCl is silica and aluminum. Fine. The same thing he has, but thoda there is a wrong concept in this. What is the wrong concept? If the height of the Himalayas is 8 kilometers, that means route is 80 kilometers. Itne route pe to everything will get destroyed. But before that, he used Archimedes principle. Archimedes principle. Archimedes. What was the Archimedes principle? टब में नहाने गया, फिर टब में नहाने के बाद लिक्विड डिस्प्लेस हुआ. सो जितना हिमालय इज गोइंग इनसाइड, उतना liquid is getting displaced. Liquid कहाँ पे है? In the asthenosphere. Right? He used the Archimedes principle, taking an example of icebergs. Taking an example of icebergs. In which he pointed that only one part of an iceberg, in which he pointed that only one part of an iceberg floats on the surface, is seen on the surface, but 9 parts are below the surface. But 9 parts are below the surface. Only one part is on the surface, but 9 parts are below the surface. Now next point, to show this, देखो these are scientists, so they will have to prove. To show this, he took wooden blocks of different heights. He took wooden blocks of different heights and floated them, or and floated and suspended them in a block of water. और ऊपर आवाज नहीं आ रही है. And suspended them in the block of water. And then you draw this diagram. In a water body, water, a block of water matlab vessel of a water. Draw the diagram very neatly in the exam also. Can I continue? So what he has done? He has taken the wooden blocks, all of same density. Remember, density of the wooden block is same, and he suspended them in the water. Finished drawing? He suspended them in the water. Then he said, look at the landmass. This is how the landmass is. All the rocks of the Sial are having same density, जो हमने पहले लिखा था 2.7 average density of Sial. So all the rocks are in the same density. It is nothing but the law of flotation. जिसकी height ज़्यादा है. Don't worry about the height. Okay? ये छोटा है, इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि density different है. He took all the rocks of the same density. He took all the wooden blocks of the same density. Even if the height is less, density will be same. वजन same रहेगा, इतना याद रखना. And suspended in the water. So after that, because they are the same density, they all started floating. Fine. So जो tallest block था, it floated more up. But जो the one which was floating more, it was having deeper roots. And then he said, this is how the landmass are arranged. Landmass are having the same density and thus they are floating. अब यहाँ पे problem है दो. एक तो density of the landmass is never same. Second problem is roots cannot be that deep. Getting it? So criticism of Erie क्या है? Himalaya का density is not same as Great Plains. Great Plains का density is not same as Vindhyas. Vindhyas का density is not same as Western Ghats or as Peninsular India. So rocks cannot be of the same density all over the world. So how to remember the basic concept of Erie? Basic concept of Erie is this is the key word. सेम डेंसिटी बट डिफरेंट हाइट। प्रैट ने क्या किया, प्रैट ने एक आयरन लिया, एक लेड लिया, एक गोल्ड लिया, डिफरेंट डेंसिटीज एंड डिफरेंट हाइट्स, इसका सेम डेंसिटी एंड डिफरेंट हाइट्स। गेटिंग इट? समझ में आया? वुडन ब्लॉक, इमेजिन यू हैव टेकन अ वुडन ब्लॉक, सबकी साइज अलग है बट द डेंसिटी इज सेम। जिसकी साइज बड़ी है वो थोड़ा हल्का है, उनकी डेंसिटी इज सेम। आपने पानी में डाल दिया एंड देन दे स्टार्टेड फ्लोटिंग। तो किसी की हाइट ज़्यादा है बिकॉज इट इज़ ऑलरेडी ग्रेटर इन हाइट, किसी की हाइट कम है, किसी की हाइट उससे ज़्यादा कम है। सो ही सेज दिस इज माउंटेन, दिस इज प्लाटो एंड दिस इज प्लेन। गेटिंग इट? सो नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, by showing this he said that all the blocks made up of wood, blocks made up of wood have same density, but their height differed, underline this, and this statement should come in the examination, what I have written, same density, different height differed, full stop. The longest, ये underline करो statement, same density, different height. The longest block emerged to the greatest height, then what he did, many people were not agreeing with him, अब उसने copper के blocks लिए and he suspended them in the water, results were same. Then he took iron का blocks and suspended them in the mercury, result was same. So he showed this is how the continents were arranged. So the same experiment was done with the copper blocks. And Airy came to a conclusion that continents are resting or rather floating. Continents are resting or floating on denser seama and the highest mountains have the deepest roots. Do you agree with this? समझ में आया? Highest mountains have deepest roots. So जितना high is Himalayas, according to Airy, उतना deep is the root of the Himalayas. Now when you are making the diagram, see we cannot exactly show the law of flotation, otherwise page खत्म हो जाएगा. But just make sure that ऊपर के part से नीचे का part थोड़ा बड़ा है. That is, this height should be slightly lesser than the roots. And can you use color pencils in the exam? Yes. Color pens नहीं पर pencils use कर सकते हो. And if you have time, you can use brown color, you can use blue color, you can use black color pencils also in the exam. Everything depends upon your speed. समझ में आया इसका concept? Rocks of same density but different heights due to the law of flotation. So answer में अगर लिखना है his law of flotation, उसके बाद wooden blocks का example, उसके बाद landscape का example, Himalayas वाला example. Fine? Answer खत्म. Don't get worried by the complicated language. Your understanding should be reflected in the examination, and this statement should be reflected. Same density, different height. Always label the diagram in the exam, irrespective whether it is GS or optional. It is good habit. अगर time नहीं है तो then only don't label, but always label this. Small things make major difference in the marks, because knowledge is same with everyone. Can I continue? Now, what are the weaknesses of ARI? What are the faults in ARI? Density cannot be same. And second, imagine the route height of the Himalayas 8 kilometers, the route will be 70 kilometers. If we look the, हमने अभी देखा था in the interior of the earth, only in the upper part temperature rises very fast, 1 degree Celsius for every 32 meters. So at 70 kilometers there will be so high heat कि it will melt, and therefore roots cannot be present. तो क्यों हम ARI पढ़ रहे हैं? To compare it with Pratt. फिर हम देखेंगे Pratt और भी गलत है. So why we are studying him? Because recent studies have shown कि ARI is right. Fine, but roots are not exactly the law of flotation. Root is slightly less. Second, recent studies have shown Pratt is also right. मतलब there is a level of compensation, but that level of compensation is at a certain depth, and we call this as a moho discontinuity. So roots of any mountain will be only up to a certain depth. उसके बाद temperature is so high that it will be destroyed. मतलब दोनों Pratt is also right, there is a level of compensation, and ARI is also right कि there is a root. The only difference is Pratt ने कहा level of compensation will be 5 kilometers. No, it goes up to 80 kilometers. ARI ने कहा the roots will be up to 80 kilometers. No, they are maximum up to 30 kilometers. Fine, but yes, Mount Everest also has a root, Aravallis also have a root, but they don't go that deep. Fine, getting it? For example, if you go in Rajasthan and if you dig the soil, go digging deeper, ऊपर तो alluvial soil है, you will easily dig. You have seen this in many parts, not just in Rajasthan. नीचे जाके पत्थर लगता है, and then you cannot go below that. Seema is there, denser. Getting it? Anybody in village knows कि there is a borewell goes, and फिर उसके after certain depth it cannot go deeper. If you get water, very fine, but उसके नीचे water नहीं मिलेगा. See, there is large amount of groundwater. अभी last year a study was shown, there were two interesting studies. Last year a study was shown कि we are living on the ocean. Living on the ocean means ground में there is so much amount of fresh water कि it can satisfy the need of everyone. But with the recent technology, you cannot go below the ground, because we don't have that much powerful machines which will go below the crustal rocks. Second studies which was shown is a new kind of wave was detected which was more powerful. कितने earthquake waves है? P waves, S waves and surface waves. So last year in Argentina, in Africa and in Southeast Asia, means along the same latitude, there was a new kind of wave which was very much destructive on the seismograph, but people did not notice any earthquake. एल वेव्स नहीं, सरफेस वेव्स आर एल वेव्स एंड आर वेव्स. अब ये कौन सी वेव है उसके ऊपर डिस्कवरीज चल रही है. फाइन. सो द सेस्मोग्राफ के ऊपर अर्थक्वेक फील हुआ 8.2 रिचर स्केल का, बट जो लोग थे उनको कुछ फील ही नहीं हुआ. फाइन. And I was talking about the signature bridge. Fine. Signature bridges. This is Yamuna. They have constructed a flyover till here. It was supposed to get completed 5 years back. They constructed a flyover till here, and the government declared yes, the signature bridge is ready, because they had to just put one more slab here and they had to put a pillar over here. So pillar के लिए they started digging the Yamuna. फिर आया इतना बड़ा rock कि the rock could not be broken by any machine which is present in India. Then they imported the machine from China. Chinese machine failed. The rock is so powerful that only Germany has this technology to break the rocks. There is only 1 or 2 machines in the world. So we had to wait till the time Germany ki machine comes to India. Why it took 5 years? Because Germany ka machine was already booked initially by USA, then by Europe, then by other countries, and after 5 years it came to India. Now some people say wo rock nahi hai, that is Kalia, because yahan pe Krishna had killed Kalia, and this is where the Kalia, the snake, it is the snake ka body, and therefore you should not disturb, otherwise kuch galat hone wala hai. We brought the machine, then we dug the hole, and then after digging the hole it was very easy and the signature bridge was completed. So you have to understand कि geomorphology में there are many things जिसके बारे में हमें पता नहीं है. Geomorphology के लिए the best quotation is where science ends, religion starts. Getting it? जो science नहीं explain कर सकता वो everything is religion. Why this rock is there? Exactly was this the place where in Krishna had killed Kalia? In Krishna had killed Kalia, the snake, at the same place. Indraprasth in Mahabharata is nothing but Delhi. Fine. Kurukshetra is there. Panipat is there. Jahan pe all the battles, first battle of Panipat, second battle, third battle, ya Kurukshetra, all happened there. Fine. If you go to Afghanistan, that was from where Gandhari came. उसके बाद भी invaders came from there only, and only flat land in between is Haryana, and therefore Haryana has faced many battles in the past, in the recent, and the ancient times also mythology. So mythology will tell you many things about the geographical description of an area. Example, Sita was captured by Ravan when he took the roop of a golden deer. In India we do not have golden deer, but we have in that same jungle spotted deer which looks golden in color. It talks about the biodiversity of a region. Fine. So this is how you can understand Sial and Sima. It is so dense, Sima. Don't go by the simple things. It is all relative. Getting it? अब जो छोटे छोटे मच्छर और इंसेक्ट्स रहेंगे, they must be calling us, see, these are devils. These are what Rakshasa is. अगर वो लोग पढ़ रहे mythology. We had our different idea of Rakshas, huge people. So from where huge people came? When the Aryans came from north, huge people were present in south, right? Dravidians, and they become the Rakshasa. So that is why Ravan is a demon in entire India, but Ravan is worshipped in Tamil Nadu. Ravan is worshipped in Sri Lanka. They have a different version of Ramayana. It's all about the culture, how we have changed the history as per our needs. Getting it? And then the Britishers also did, क्योंकि उनको Aryans में best मिल गया. सफेद वो भी थे. Aryans also were somewhat like Britishers, and Britishers wanted Aryans so that they can justify their invasion. India was always ruled initially by Aryans, then by Mughals, then by Britishers. All came from the same direction. Getting it? So, criticisms of Airy. First criticism, his concept that the tallest mountains have deepest roots. Tallest mountains have deepest roots. is controversial because if we take the case of Mount Everest, if we take the case of Mount Everest, which is 8,850 meters tall, then its route will be around 71 kilometers deep. At such depth, roots will be around 71 kilometers deep. At such depth, the temperature will be so high. At such depth, the temperature will be so high that all the roots will melt. All the roots will melt. All the roots will melt. Getting it? All the roots will melt. Exam में simple words में लिखना है, the roots of the tallest mountain cannot be deep below 70 kilometers. Second criticism. Rocks cannot have same density. Rocks cannot have same density. Rocks cannot have same density. Different rocks will have different density. Why? Because their mineral composition is different. नहीं तो कोई ऐसे कहेगा rocks which are found in Himalayas का same density is as soil which is found in Great Plains. It is not possible. And therefore किसका view है अभी? Sir Pratt का. Can I rub this diagram? पूरे माउंट एवरेस्ट की, हाँ सेम. अब माउंट एवरेस्ट की डेंसिटी क्यों सेम है? सिर्फ माउंट एवरेस्ट की कैसे होगी डेंसिटी? सी हैव यू एवर इमेजिन्ड कि विच पार्ट ऑफ द हिमालयाज इज टॉलेस्ट? सेंटर पार्ट, ईस्टर्न पार्ट, वेस्टर्न पार्ट? कहां पे है? If I consider the Himalayas, if this is the Himalayas, this is the eastern part, this is the western part, this is the central part. Which is highest? Mount Everest, Nanda Devi, Annapurna, Gauri Shankar, Kanchenjunga. ये है central part which is the highest in the world. These are the highest mountain. Push कहाँ पे हुआ था Himalayas? Indian plate came and collided with the western and eastern part. Why the central part is highest? Where are maximum landslides? Jammu Kashmir, Uttarakhand या Himachal Pradesh? Where we have the maximum landslides? Uttarakhand. Why? Because the rock is soft. Uttarakhand ka rock is soft. Himachal Pradesh and Jammu Kashmir ka rock is very hard. So central part of the Himalayas ka rock is much softer than the western and eastern part. And the soft rock is it has been easily folded and therefore height is greater. So you can see Himalayas itself do not have same density. This is soft rock, this is hard rock, this is a different rock. So how can the entire world of rocks have same density? That is the problem with the Aries concept. Ab you see what is the Pratt's concept. First I'll draw the diagram. Sial, Sima, mountain, plateau, plains. What is he saying? Same root. There is no root as such. They will be compressed only up to a certain level. So why is this? Because its density is less. I am just taking any figure. So एरी का concept same density different heights. इसका concept different densities different heights. Fine. Or if you want to do different densities but same root, उसका concept is same density and different roots. His concept is different densities. The lighter, the higher the mountains, more lighter will be the rocks. Uska everything is same. Only thing is law of flotation. यहाँ पे law of flotation does not apply. Getting it? What does the Airy say? Airy says all the rocks are same, but the height जिसका ज़्यादा है, why? Because they are floating and therefore they have deeper roots. He says no. Densities are different. So जिसकी height ज़्यादा है, root वो सब नहीं है. There is no root का concept. They are up to a certain depth only. But जिसकी height ज़्यादा है, they are lighter as compared to the rocks. जिसकी height और less है, they are still denser as compared to the lighter rocks. So Himalayas are the lightest rocks and the plains are the heaviest rocks. Airy does not distinguish between the rocks ka densities. Pratt says different. Getting it? Everyone? So Pratt presented his concept in 1855. Based on the Pratt presented his concept in 1855. Based on studies in the Himalayan region, full stop. According to Pratt, there is variation in the densities of the Earth's crust, full stop. This variation in the density occurs only up to certain depth. This variation in the density occurs only up to certain depth, below which the density is uniform. Below which the density is uniform. This depth was called by Pratt as level of compensation. This depth was called by Pratt as a level of compensation. As a level of compensation. Don't draw this diagram. This is for your understanding only. Now read the statement again, this entire statement. He says there is a variation in the density. कहाँ तक? कुछ depth तक. After that the density is same. What depth is known as the level of compensation. Can you see the diagram? Level of compensation is this. Below this the density is same anywhere in the world. Above this there is a variation in the densities. वही जो मैंने कल कहा. If I press, the mattress will be pressed only up to a certain level. Why? Because जहाँ पे मैं खड़ा हूँ वहाँ पे density and mass and pressure is more, so it gets pressed. And the part which I am not pressing will be much greater in height in the mattress. So the same thing. Part which is lighter is mountain. उसके बाद plateau, उसके बाद plain. If I press the mattress, it will be pressed only up to a certain level. That level he calls it as a level of compensation. उसके बाद the density will be same. Getting it, everyone? Fine? एनी डाउट्स? क्योंकि घर पे जाके टेक्स्ट बुक पढ़ के डाउट्स रिजॉल्व नहीं होंगे. द लैंग्वेज इज टू डिफिकल्ट. गेटिंग इट? हाउ मेनी आर रिग्रेटिंग टेकिंग ज्योग्राफी ऑप्शनल? No regrets? So, chalo, then you will regret in Davis and Planck. Getting it? So GS में जो दिखता है वो सिर्फ बिकता है. You can understand it is nothing to do with optional. GS में it looks very impressive how related it is, how good it is. When you come to the optional, you realize how difficult it is. It is not meant for people with non-scientific bent of mind. ऐसा नहीं है. There are humanity students with scientific bent of mind. There are engineering students with non-scientific bent of mind. So it is not meant for a non-scientific bent of mind. It is at least this first part. Getting it? So यहाँ तक डेंसिटी इज डिफरेंट. ये रेड लाइन के बाद सब जगह डेंसिटी सेम है. या इट इज इन द मोल्टन स्टेट. सो वही वो दैट इज व्हाट इज द लेवल ऑफ कंपनसेशन. उसके बाद रॉक्स ही अलग नहीं है, रॉक्स सब सेम है. दिस इज एस्थेनोस्फीयर या मैंटल या कोर. डेंसिटी इज सेम. क्यों ऊपर तक डेंसिटी है? बिकॉज दैट विल बी प्रेस्ड ओनली अप टू अ सर्टेन लेवल. सो दैट ही व्हाट इज कॉल्ड एज अ लेवल ऑफ कंपनसेशन. See, दोनों के बीच में डिफरेंस इतना ही है. सेम डेंसिटी डिफरेंट रूट्स. इसमें डिफरेंट डेंसिटी सेम रूट. नेक्स्ट, above the level of compensation, above the level of compensation, the density changes. The density changes above the level of compensation. The density changes from one column to another. From one column to another. One column. Column is vertical. One column to another. Density changes. And thus, the Pratt gave the concept of uniform density. Underline this word also, entire statement. Uniform density with varying depths. Uniform density with varying depths. To show this, next point, to show this, he took the blocks of lead, iron, zinc, and antimony, and suspended them in the column of, or suspended them in the vessel containing mercury. And suspended them in the vessel containing mercury. Suspended them in the vessel containing mercury. See, mercury why he chose? Because iron to will not float in water. So he took 4 these things, which is one of the most heaviest and densest metal in the world, densest material in the world. It is always lead. Lead is heavier than iron. याद रखना, ये GS में भी पूछा है. तो lead pencils में आपके पास है. It is heavy pencil No, because don't go by the name. Lead pencils में lead कभी नहीं होता. What is there is graphite. Lead pencils which are you are having is it is made up of graphite. Had this been lead, आप उठा भी नहीं सकते. Would not even have lifted it. Lead से generally bullets बनती है, so that it can pierce anything. Not pencil. नाम क्यों है lead pencil? वो पता नहीं. So this is the density. You don't have to remember. Lead ki densities of that block is 104 grams per meter cube. Iron 7.45 grams per meter cube. Antimony 6.6 grams per meter cube. Zinc 7 grams per meter cube. Now what he took? He showed somewhat like this. He suspended in the mercury. जिसकी density ज़्यादा है उसकी height will be more or less. जिसकी density is more, will it be going more deep, right? After that, iron comparatively less deep. After that, antimony maximum depth. And then zinc slightly greater than iron. And he found that when he suspended them in the water, they all floated, but not the law of flotation. They went only up to a certain depth. Uske baad they could not displace the mercury. So, जो हल्का था, one which was lightest, it went up. Fine? Depth उतनी ही रही. So this lightest is antimony. This is zinc. This is lead, and this is iron. What is the, I have just given you the figures there. उसको याद रखने की जरूरत नहीं. What is the density of antimony? 6.6. So it is the lightest. उसकी height इसलिए ज़्यादा है. Which is the densest? Lead 11.4. उसकी height सबसे it is less. Understanding Hindi? No problems with Hindi? Little bit Hindi? Understand all three? So the one which is having lesser, more density, you can see it has gone deeper. He says this is what is happening in the world. Lightest rocks, mountains. Densest rocks, plains. What did Airy say? Same density. It is just different in the floating. What does he say? Different densities. And below that, mercury cannot be pressed. So this is the level of compensation. Oh, sorry. It should be different density and uniform depth. Uniform density with varying depth is Airy. Let's change the statement which I have given. It should be uniform depth with varying density. Uniform depth with varying density. Statement which I made you underline, oh wrong hai. It should be uniform depth with different density. Can I continue? Thus, practice of the view that different relief features are standing on the earth's surface because of difference in densities. Remember when this experiment was done, in sabka wazan, weight was same. After taking the blocks of the same weight, he suspended them in mercury. So jiska density was lesser, it was floating. Fine, it has nothing to do with the weight. Full stop के बाद the highest relief features, that is mountains, have the lowest densities. The highest relief features of the mountains have the lowest densities. Highest relief features such as mountains have the lowest density, while the lower relief features such as ocean basins have highest density, So what is this? This is a plateau. What is this? This can be lake or any basin. What is this? Obviously this is a mountain. What is this? This is plain. Why plain? Because it is nearer to the sea level. Fine. And what is the last one? This is oceanic crust. They will press the asthenosphere up to a certain depth, and that depth is known as level of compensation. किसकी डेंसिटी सबसे ज्यादा होगी? ओशनिक क्रस्ट की. किसके सबसे कम होगी? माउंटेन. So you can write easily. You know Cl is 2.6 to 2.7. So high 2.7 is the average density of Cl. Sigma is 3. You know that. Fine. So using that figures, just play with the figures. Mountains you can write 2.6. Basin 2.8. 2.7. So what can be the conclusion? He believes that jitna high the mountain utna lighter are the rocks, and jitna deeper utna more denser are the rocks. नहीं, oh sorry, बेसिन एंड प्लेन का सेम होना चाहिए डेंसिटी, या बेसिन का और कम भी लिख सकते हो 2.9, ऐसा नहीं है ये. बेसिन एंड प्लेन शुड बी मोर डेंसर एज कंपेयर टू प्लाटू. Can I continue? What is the problem with this theory? दिखेगा कुछ नहीं प्रॉब्लम, हमें सिर्फ बनाना है प्रॉब्लम. फाइन. Once we have to write an answer. Criticism. Now see, every theory will have critics. So his critics say Pratt criticizes Airy's law of flotation, but इसके theory में भी तो ये flotation है. So what is the crux? Cial is floating on Sima. But what Airy said? Cial is floating on Sima. Why he opposed then Airy? Because of Airy's concept that it was very deep root, and secondly same density. He says different densities. So before we write the criticism, one line. Thus according to Pratt, lighter the rocks, greater is the height. While denser the rocks, more is the denser the rocks, low is the height. Don't draw anything. What is the recent view? The recent view is neither there is a level of compensation. So the recent view is somewhat like this. What does Airy say? कि there will be roots. Plane, less root. Basin, still lesser root. Plateau, thoda deeper root. Fine. This is what. But सबकी density will be same. What does the Pratt say? It will be same density, but different roots. What has we come to conclusion? We have come to conclusion. Neither Airy is right, neither Pratt is right. Totally. Both are right partially. The rocks will have different densities. Himalayas are having different densities than the plains. Plains are having different densities than the oceanic crust. And root also hai. So the root is there. Though the mountains are of different densities, they are much lighter. There is also root in the mountains. The only thing is root is not as deep as what Airy said. Basin will be having a different density. There will be root, but it will not be as deep. Plateau will be having a root. Plains will be having a root. The only thing is both the law of flotation will exist, but this root will be present only up to the depth of maximum 45 kilometers. Because after 45 kilometers, the heat is so high that everything is melted. So roots hai, Airy is right. Uniform depth tak hai. 45 kilometers is the depth. That means this is the level of compensation. Even the Pratt is right. Getting it? Fine. So neither Airy is totally wrong. Roots hai. The only thing is law of flotation does not exist. Is there level of compensation? Hai. But it is not uniform. It will be different between different mountains, etc. But what we have seen, maximum depth for the level of compensation is 45 kilometers, because after 45 kilometers यहाँ पे तो फिर there is magma, everything will be melted. Fine, getting it? Is Sial floating on Sima? Yes. But does the law of flotation of Archimedes work? No. It is not that 9 parts are below and 1 part is above. Yes, Himalayas have roots, Aravalis have roots, everyone will have root depending upon density, but only up to the depth of 45 kilometers. Fine. So before we write all this, now take a question and generate the points. I am giving you the question. Give me the past year booklet. Explain the concept of isostasy. Explain the concept of isostasy. And bring out the difference. Between Airy and Pratt. Bring out the difference between Airy and Pratt. So I am giving you 4 minutes. You just make a structure for this answer. क्या क्या लिखोगे? Structure means what will be your introduction. After that, which diagrams will come? How will you proceed? And then how will you differentiate between? I will ask every one of you some point. So take down. There is no need of writing, just structure banao. Let your brain work. But Airy had taken uniform density. Airy had taken uniform density, same material. Now you are comparing two different things. Ask compared to huh. Yes, hai. That is a right criticism. So show me the booklets. What is the idea you have drawn? This is a good thing about the small course. So she has written isostasy theory was given by Dutton. What is the mistake here? Theory was not given by Dutton, concept was given by Dutton. That is the first. Fir, she has explained Airy's concept of same density, different height. Draw a diagram. Then the next point she has written is its experiment. Now see, the question is of 200 words, maximum या 250 words. Do you have the luxury of explaining उसका experiment? No. So वो cut कर दो, क्योंकि question is demanding explain isostasy. You have explained that कि it is a state of equilibrium etc. Then the concept of Airy Pratt को compare करना है. You don't have to just explain. So when you compare, एक एक point को compare करना पड़ेगा. Fine. Then Pratt concept of different density, its experiment and explanation. That is the end of answer. So what she has done is she has written the answer for a question, explain isostasy and give the concept of Airy and Pratt. What is the question? Compare Airy and Pratt, not give. और ये common mistake है जो सब करते हैं. But can you understand? And this I said should be the structures ready. Answer भी अगर if you don't have time now because you are doing too many classes, you should have structures ready of the past year questions. When you know geomorphology में questions are repeated, तो क्यों ना अभी से your structure should be ready. You have not done anything then? I started isostasy today only. So he has gone little bit towards the answer. What about write about isostasy? Briefly explain the concept of isostasy. That is important. Briefly explain the concept of Airy and Pratt, and then criticize both of them. Fine. So this should have been some of the approach. Again, you have done what is explain the concept of isostasy, not the comparison. Critical analysis of the both. Fine. See, this should be the structure of the answer. Explain the term isostasy, Dutton. Then Airy के concept, law of flotation, level of compensation. Compare किया. His concept is based on law of flotation, level of compensation. Same density, different height. Different density, uniform depth. This is what is the comparison is. Longer the relief feature, deeper will be the roots. Higher the relief feature will have less density. This is what is the comparison. Diagram, diagram. Conclusion, recent views. Fine. So this is good, a good structure. What you started is writing the answer. You don't have to write the answer. See, these are the things we learn in the class. So you should not be feeling ashamed or okay, that's why you have joined the coaching. Fine. Again, This is how structure should be. Two of them have done it good. Criticism with the diagram, Airy Pratt, concept in short, diagram, and yes, I'll give you the conclusion. I'll come to that side. I don't know now how the online students, they can write an answer and show it to me.
So I thought that what explaining why do you study and what is now relevant of ISSTC.
उसकी ज़रूरत नहीं थी.
इंट्रोडक्शन में वो इंट्रोड्यूस करी सर इससे थोड़ा सा
अलग.
हाँ अलग. तो उसके बाद मैंने इस पर फोकस किए डिफरेंट सेम डेंसिटी और डिफरेंट हाइट वो कंपैरिजन करके फिर कंक्लूजन.
I'll come to his point. You should never get stuck कि introduction बहुत अलग होना चाहिए, because have you seen yours? Dutton again, not theory, Dutton's concept. Now there are three people who have written कि comparison you will have to do. Evolution of isostasy, Himalayas, plum, ठीक है, Himalayas density, criticism. Airy's concept 3 lines, Pratt's concept 3 lines, difference, conclusion. So now those who have written, they are going to write the difference. Tell me the differences. किसने किसने लिखा है? 1, 2, 3 people. See what most of you have done. Most of you have answered a question correctly, right, from everyone. But you have answered the question. That is the another question which has come in the UPSC, and that is define the concept of isostasy and discuss the postulations of Airy and Pratt. ये इसका आंसर लिखा है, discuss the postulations. यहाँ पे we are asking you compare Airy and Pratt, not discuss Airy and Pratt. Had this question been discuss Airy and Pratt, तो फिर Airy लिखो, Pratt लिखो, खत्म कर दो. That is what. But comparison में you should know what are the two differences. एक कहता है law of flotation, the other says law of compensation. एक कहता है same density, दूसरा कहता है varying density. One says that जितना greater the height, उतना deeper is the root. Other criticizes his concept that is the root, if it is deep, it will melt. So he says same root, level of compensation, but different densities, that is jitna greater the height, utna lesser is the density. Conclusion, nobody will be able to write because we have not done the concept of Hayford and Bowie supported, I am just telling you what has happened. Hayford and Bowie supported totally Pratt. Only difference is उन्होंने कहा the level of compensation will be 100 kilometers. Jolly आया, Jolly was a radioactive scientist, उसने कहा 100 kilometers, मैं काम करता हूँ nuclear physics में, I know कि 100 kilometers पे what is the temperature, these are full. Cancel, ऐसा कोई 100 kilometers पे nothing will be there. The level of compensation के बदले there is a zone of compensation, that is from 45 kilometers till 100 kilometers इस जोन में यूनिफॉर्म डेप्थ नहीं होगा, इस जोन में रूट्स कहीं पे भी हो सकते हैं, देयर कैन बी रूट्स एनीवेयर, मींस दिस लाइन ऑफ कंपनसेशन को दे चेंज्ड इनटू लेवल ऑफ कंपनसेशन, ही चेंज्ड इनटू द जोन ऑफ कंपनसेशन। ये ऐसा नहीं है, कंपनसेशन का डेप्थ यू कैन नॉट से एग्जैक्टली 45 किलोमीटर्स और 100 किलोमीटर्स, इट कैन वेरी बिटवीन 45 to 100 kilometers. So instead of line, a single line, there is a zone. Jolly comes and says, who is Jolly? Jolly is the person who has studied extensively in the earthquakes, P waves, S waves, जो हम करते हैं, that is Jolly. Jolly says, I have studied the earthquakes. I know the earthquakes come from the mountains which have the deepest roots. Example, Himalayas, etc. That means there are roots. So these two are the followers of Pratt. Arthur Holm is the follower of Airy. Sorry. Arthur Holm is the follower of Airy. So in this आपका 3-4 दिन क्लास कैंसिल होते होते बच गया. Yesterday ma'am was telling in front of him, because your health is not supporting, cancel geography optional, postpone it for 2-3 months. He got afraid whether it is really getting cancelled. I said no, don't worry. So he is a supporter of Airy and he says yes, the mountains are having roots, but these roots are of up to a certain depth, जो मैंने आपको कहा. After that there is a uniform density. So Jolly says yes, there is a zone of compensation as well as there is a root. Why we don't take them seriously? क्योंकि कोई original work नहीं, इन्होंने तो बिल्कुल भी काम नहीं किया. इन्होंने इसका सिर्फ डेप्थ बता दिया 100 किलोमीटर, जो भी उनके मन में आया. और इसने took the safest route कि कोई एक डेप्थ नहीं होता, it may vary. He also did what most of the scientists do. इनका एक कंसेप्ट लिया, इनका एरी का एक कंसेप्ट लिया और कहा दोनों पॉसिबल है, which is obviously a reality because his studies are based on experiments. Fine. Now what is the basic difference is what we will be writing, and you see this question will never come for more than 150 words because there is not much of a difference. What is the similarity? Both believe in the flotation, but their way of expressing is different. One totally believes in the law of flotation, one partially believes in the law of flotation, but Sial is floating on Sima. Getting it? So comparison. Now how you will write the comparison? Exam mein, unless you don't have time, avoid marking doing this way. Airy, Pratt, avoid it. This is the way of writing till school. Now you are not going to write. Why you are not going to write? Imagine your paper. It will be this much. इसके आप ऊपर आप अंदर लाइन बनाओगे and then लिखोगे. फिर एक पॉइंट लिखने के बाद पता चलेगा कि पेपर कवर्ड है, अब पीछे एक ही पेज बचा है जिसमें और 2-3 पॉइंट्स लिखने हैं. Then you will make very small handwriting. Then you will skip the diagram. So उससे अच्छा point number 1 between Airy and Pratt. Point number 2 diagrams दोनों का. Point number 3 next difference and then conclusion. Fine. So always in UPSC write in a matured way. This is not the way of writing. Many people write temperate cyclones, tropical cyclones. Originates in tropics, does not originate in tropic. This is not the way of writing. Fine. It should be in point, origin, pressure, wind system, sub points, and then you can compare. They are not asking you to differentiate, they are asking you to compare. So always presentation will matter. I'll tell you a basic this of an examiner. Examiner has to correct some papers. He get some 60 rupees per paper for correction by UPSC. अपना क्लास देता है 500 rupees per paper for correction. जिसकी टेस्ट सीरीज और ज़्यादा अच्छी है, they give 700 rupees per paper for correction. So वैसे ही वो गवर्नमेंट है, they are frustrated because they are getting 60 rupees per paper for correction. And they know the coaching institutes play much more, but they cannot come here because those who are in the UPSC का panel, उनका phone etc. is monitored. Fine, by IB. It is very strict. Next is उनको एक टाइम लिमिट होता है I can say अरे पेपर आज करेक्ट नहीं हुए कल ले लेना. They cannot say this to UPSC. नहीं आज रिजल्ट मत देना, मेरे कुछ पेपर बचे हैं, result postponed it. So they have a time. In that time when and they are taken by UPSC in a room, उनके all phones etc are taken and they have to correct in the UPSC का campus. Even if they are staying in Tamil Nadu, they are brought here and they are made to correct in certain time limit. No connection in the family except after 9 p.m. Obviously frustration will be high. In that case, if you are sitting and he is correcting a paper, आपके आगे का presentation is very good, knowledge will be same, he will be impressed, he will give them marks. Then he comes to your paper, though you have written more points but it is not readable, he is not going to take effort. He will compare it with the paper which is earlier and he will be frustrated and give you less marks. Fine. If earlier night if he has fought with his wife, he will give you still less marks. Fine. So this is human psychology. If your paper is very good and पीछे वाले का paper is very bad, then his bad luck. And imagine आपके आगे के 3 लोग ऐसे हैं, one is selected in IRS, one is selected in IPS, one is selected in some kind of service and they are doing for rank improvement. Getting it? This is the real world situation in UPSC. Everyone gives for rank improvement unless he gets into IAS, IFS or his first choice is IPS. Getting it? और उसके अटेम्प्ट खत्म हो गए. अदरवाइज सब लोग देते हैं रैंक इंप्रूवमेंट के लिए. एंटायर फ्रॉम रैंक 300 to rank 900 till the time they have attempt they will be giving the exam because everyone wants IAS. Fine. Most of the people. So you have to think in that way. That is your competition and you will have to arrange it. So handwriting, diagrams. इसलिए मैं कहता हूँ if you are writing with blue pen, make it with black pen. Diagrams. Contrast effect looks good. If you are writing with black pen, make the diagrams or flowcharts with blue pen rather than with pencil. Why pencil I ask you to avoid? Because your paper will be closed for a month. There will be high pressure. Pencil will make the paper dirty. It will leave black marks on the paper. छोटी छोटी चीजें हैं. We realized in 3rd attempt. और होते होते जब realization आ गया 4th attempt आया, attempts खत्म हो गए. Fine, but these are small things. Why? Till the time your senior gets cleared, he does not tell you the tricks. Though my college senior was only my roommate, but tricks कभी share नहीं किए. क्या पढ़ना है? अरे एंशिएंट क्या पढ़ना होता है? बिल्कुल मत पढ़ो. अरे मेडिवल क्या पढ़ना होता है? बिल्कुल मत पढ़ो. अरे पढ़ाई थोड़ी कोई करता है. Once he cleared with 7th rank, then he told me his tricks. तब तक मेरा 3rd attempt आ चुका था. Fine. And this is the same thing what is happening. It's our psychology. In your room, if your roommate has written mains earlier, he is God for you. Fine. If he's in service, he is God for you. So comparison between Airy and Pratt. Between criticism of Pratt नहीं है इतना. Criticism of Pratt, Haverford and Bowie में आएगा. Comparison between Airy and Pratt. Though both the point number 1, though both the theories look different, they are basically based on the concept of isostatic adjustment. They are based on the concept of isostatic adjustment. Airy believes isostatic adjustment. Airy believes in the law of which law? Flotation, while Pratt believes in the law of compensation. Pratt believes in the law of compensation. Fine. So you have to underline law of compensation, law of flotation. Second point. Airy argues that densities of the rocks are similar. Of the rocks are similar, but their height varies. Because higher crustal blocks या higher relief features, जो भी लिखना है, higher relief features have deepest roots. Thus his theory is based on root formation. Same point में, but change the paragraph. On other hand, Pratt does not believe in the law of flotation. And crustal similarity in the densities. Full stop. He believes that different relief features have different densities. Full stop. Higher the rocks, lesser is the density. And vice versa. But this variation in the density is only up to a certain depth, known as level of compensation. But this difference in the densities or variation in the densities is only up to a certain depth. Known as level of compensation. Getting it? Full stop के बाद. But on close scrutiny, means और नजदीक से एग्जामिनेशन करने के बाद, if you closely examine Airy, Pratt also believes in flotation, root formation. On close scrutiny, even the Pratt's theory has slight hint of root formation. There is a root. On close scrutiny, even the Pratt's theory has slight hint of root formation. Where is the root? Level of compensation tak, whatever is pressed, that is the root formation. Fine. And then draw the two diagrams. You can draw anything, wooden blocks also, or you can draw the mountains also. This is the fundamental difference. Same density, different densities. Right? Why I am not written the density differences there? Because there are same densities. Fine, and here there is a different density. Conclusion. Thus the fundamental difference between Airy and Pratt ये किसने बताया था डिफरेंस? बावी ने. एग्जामिनेशन में याद आया तो लिखना बावी, अकॉर्डिंग टू बावी. एग्जामिनेशन में याद नहीं आया तो डोंट राइट इट. फंडामेंटल, बट द मोर यू कोट द साइंटिस्ट बेटर इट इज. Thus the fundamental difference between Airy and Pratt according to Bowie is Airy talks about uniform density with varying depth, while Pratt talks about what? Uniform depth with varying density. ये है क्रक्स. This is the crux, and this is how the structure of the answer should be. देखो, nowhere we have mentioned Pratt की theory, nowhere we have mentioned Airy की theory, and still you have written in more than 100 words. To the point hit करना. What is the demand of the question? Answer that only. Fine. So for your home assignment, take a past year question and show it to me tomorrow. Define the concept of isostasy. And discuss the postulations of Airy and Pratt. Define the concept of isostasy and discuss the postulations of Airy and Pratt. 15 marks, 250 words. The same question has come in 2011 for 30 marks. The same question has come in 2007 as it is in for 60 marks. The same question has come later on for 15 marks. Getting it? So 250 words. 250 words means I will not check the words. But from today, have a separate notebook for your answers, for your questions, or a separate file. Have this blank page. Show me the blank page. No need of buying and wasting money and buying the UPSC ka pages from this thing. Take this blank page. Take your big scale, जो थोड़ी मोटी वाली है. Make a line here. Make a line here. Make a line here. That is how your UPSC will be, 14 to 15 centimeters. Right answers in this, 250 words means 1 page, 2 page and half page, 100, 100 and 250. So this is how your answer should end. Chahe even if your answer is ending in 2 pages, but you should structure the answer in such a way कि blank spaces are minimum. Diagram banao. Fine. We will not going to write in detail Hayford and Bowie. UPSC in last 25 years has never asked Hayford and Bowie, but it is present in Savindra Singh. It is present in the other famous book Thornbury. It is present in the other famous book P. Dayal. So, agar in case UPSC will ask, then you should know what. So, we are just going to note down the points. UPSC फिर भी Harry and Pratt पे रहेगा, and they will ask you, अगर पूछा तो Hayford Bowie का concept क्या है? So, what is the concept? They also talk about the level of compensation, but इन्होंने depth दिया of 100 kilometers. फिर this was criticized by the Jolly. Jolly gave the concept of zone of compensation. This was further criticized by Holmes, and he gave the concept of root plus zone, means Airy plus Pratt. Fine? Kuch nahi hai isme. Never write in the examination unless asked. Yeah, unless you have to write in the conclusion. In the conclusion, you can directly come to the Holmes. So Hayford and Bowie presented the views similar to the Pratt. Presented the views similar to Pratt. That is, bigger the column, lesser is the density. Similar to Pratt, that is, bigger the column, greater the mountain. Kya? Column means mountain. Row, column. We are talking about the vertical height here. Bigger the column, lesser is the density. Lesser is the density. But concluded that the depth of the compensation level is 100 kilometer. Is 100 kilometer. Depth of the compensation level is 100 kilometer. Fine. Jolly ने क्या कहा? Jolly rejected this view. Why it is rejected this view? You already know. 100 kilometer पे everything will melt because of the high temperature. So Jolly rejected the views of Hayford and Bowie. Full stop. He supported Airy's concept of flotation. But said that the roots of highest mountains will be up to the depth which varies below which the density is uniform. Density is uniform. Understanding? Roots will be there, but only up to a certain depth. Uske baad the density will be uniform. This region of uniform density, was called as zone of compensation. Which he said is around 10 miles thick. Means how many kilometers thick? 1 mile is equal to 1.6. That is around 16 kilometers thick. So उसने कहा लाइन नहीं है ऐसे 100 किलोमीटर की, एक जोन है. He did not say कितने किलोमीटर के बाद जो जोन है. He said there will be routes and these routes will be varying in this zone, and this zone 16 किलोमीटर का जोन है, वहां तक ही routes हो सकते हैं. उसके बाद the temperature is very high, roots will melt. Nothing. Getting it? Then Arthur Holmes. You see, everyone knew theory supporting Airy, not Pratt. Arthur Holmes agrees with the views of Airy, because the exploration of the earthquakes, because the study of the earthquakes shows that study of the earthquakes shows that most of the mountains are made up of lighter sialic rocks. Most of the mountains are made up of lighter sialic rocks. P waves and S waves के studies के से क्या पता चला? Most of the mountains are made up of lighter rocks. Airy also say the same thing. These mountains have deep roots up to 50 to 60 kilometers. These mountains have deep roots up to 50 to 60 kilometers. But the plains have roots of only up to 30 kilometers. The plains have roots only up to 30 kilometers. He also studied that. Holmes की कोई theory नहीं है. Holmes ने सिर्फ study करके बताया. Holmes की is the scientific study. Holmes also studied that below the oceans, Sial is absent or very thin. Sial is absent or very thin. And thus, from the studies of Holmes, we have concluded that higher relief features on the Sial have roots. But 100 kilometer, 80 kilometer deep? नहीं. Maximum root is up to the depth of 60 kilometers. Law of flotation नहीं है. Fine? Have roots which are around 50 to 60 kilometers deep, while the lower relief features such as ocean basin or ocean floor. Lower relief features such as ocean basin or ocean floor. Ocean basin or ocean floor will have no or very thin roots. Very thin roots. Will have no or very thin roots. And Sial is separated from the Sima. Sial is separated from the Sima by moho discontinuity. By moho discontinuity. आर्थर होम्स की थियरी अगर आप कंक्लूजन में लिखोगे तो भी चलेगा, दैट देयर इज अ रूट बट मैक्सिमम डेप्थ कितना है 50 to 60 kilometers, not the law of flotation. So Airy is right, but the difference is exactly law of flotation नहीं है. So this is what is the reality. Yes, there are routes, but maximum up to the depth of 50 to 60 kilometers. Not exactly कि एक पार्ट ऊपर है 9 पार्ट नीचे है. So Airy ही राइट था, प्रैड भी राइट था, बट एग्जैक्ट कंडीशन इज ना रूट इतना डीप है एंड लेवल ऑफ कंपोजिशन इज नॉट यूनिफॉर्म, बट रॉक्स आर मेड अप ऑफ डिफरेंट डेंसिटीज. What is this entire thing? Asthenosphere, right? Tell me once you have finished drawing this. I finished drawing this. Now understand what is happening. No need of writing anything. Where is the denudation maximum? Here, denudation erosion. Materials are taken by the river and brought down, that is transportation. फिर they are brought down and deposited in the oceans. Thus there is deposition of the sediments in the oceans or in the water bodies. And because of the deposition of the sediments, load badega ki nahi? Will there be increase in the load? Yes, and therefore the ocean floor will subside. As the ocean floor will subside, it will put pressure on the asthenosphere, and asthenosphere is semi-liquid. So because of the pressure, the magma is compressed here. Ab kahan pe pressure is released? In the mountains, because you are eroding the top of the mountain, so the pressure is released. Because the pressure is released and the pressure is increased here, and here the pressure is released, the magma will come in this and it will try to come up. But agar root of a mountain is very thick, it may not travel upwards. Example, Himalayas. But in Andes and Rockies, jahan pe the thickness of the root is not very great, this magma will enter through the cracks, come up and cause volcanic eruptions. This is what is happening in the world. इसको कहते हैं global isostatic adjustment. हमें नहीं करना है. Getting it? The same thing is happening. When you make a very big dam, you put pressure here. Because of the pressure, नीचे के rocks हिलने लगते हैं. जब भी नीचे के rocks हिलने लगते हैं, the state of equilibrium is disturbed, and therefore we have earthquakes. Getting it? So where do they ask you such things? They can ask you such things in the interview, because your optional is geography. Fine. So you have to tell a simple words ki isostatic equilibrium is disturbed as we are putting more pressure on the lower rocks, and therefore the earth shakes and we are having the earthquakes. We come to the easiest of theory. The next three theories are very, very easy. सबसे easiest है geosyncline. After that, convectional current. After that, sea floor spreading. And after that, plate tectonics. These are very easy theories. What is a geosyncline? A narrow, shallow sea or a depression. So a narrow, shallow depression which is surrounded on both the sides by huge landmass is known as a geosyncline. So this is a narrow, but again the word is shallow depression which is surrounded by huge land masses on both the sides. So this is one landmass, this is another landmass, this is a geosyncline. Syncline means depression, geosyncline a narrow shallow sea. Example, one of the first geosynclines, Pangaea, broke into two parts, Gondwana land and Laurasia land, and बीच में पानी आ गया, and this was Tethys Sea or Tethys geosyncline. Now, are there rivers on these huge land masses? Land masses means of the shape of the continents. Are there rivers on these huge land masses? Where are these rivers flowing? Into the sea. Which is the sea? Here. So the rivers are flowing into the sea, and because the rivers are flowing into the sea, the rivers carry large amount of sediments, and these sediments are deposited on the floor of geosyncline. Getting it? Now, because of the deposition of the sediments on the floor of geosyncline, is the pressure increasing on the floor of geosyncline? Yes. And because the pressure is increasing on the floor of geosyncline, the floor of geosyncline starts subsiding due to the increase in the pressure. So the floor of the geosyncline goes down. Why? Due to the sediment. When the floor of the geosyncline is going down, so these are the two land masses, the floor of the geosyncline is going down, that means the two land masses are coming near each other. Getting it? Dekho, it's simple here. Imagine my hand is one landmass, the other hand is another landmass. यहाँ से rivers are coming, बीच में there is a geosyncline. Rivers are depositing the sediments. Due to deposition of sediments, the weight increases, and इसलिए the floor of geosyncline नीचे चला जाता है. नीचे चला जाता है means the land masses are brought near each other. Again there is a deposition, the land masses are brought near each other. Again there is a deposition, the land masses are brought near each other, and thus the land masses will collide. When the land masses come very nearby, I cannot show you, but I will show you here. Understood? When the land masses start coming near each other, first stage, this is a geosyncline water body. There is a deposition of sediments, and therefore the land masses start moving near each other. In the second stage, the land masses start coming near each other. The floor of geosyncline subsides, and there is a deposition of the sediments. They come near each other. As they are coming near each other, there is more deposition of the sediments, and because of deposition, फिर से ये geosyncline will go down. So ultimately, these two land masses will come near each other, very near each other. ये deep चला जाएगा. This will come near each other. जितना this land masses will come near each other, उतना earth will shake, उतना earth हिरेगा. Jitna the earth will shake, utna more destruction of the sediments, and the greater the destruction of the sediments, there will be geosyncline, more and more sedimentation in the sea. Ultimately, there will be so many sediments that water will be covered by the sediments. मतलब सिर्फ उधर क्या रहेंगे? Sediments. Understanding? Imagine a crow. आपने बचपन में स्टोरी पढ़ा है, नीचे मटके में पानी कम है, the crow comes, throws the stones, the water level comes up, but ultimately वो पूरे उसमें पत्थर हो जाते हैं. He drinks the water. crow है, उसको जरूरत थी उतने पानी की, उसने पी लिया. Can human being quench the thirst with that much water? No. So the sedimentation causes the more and land masses coming near each other. Ultimately, when the geosyncline will be full of sediments, land masses और नजदीक आएंगे, and what we will see in the final stage is the land masses have come near each other, and due to coming, the sediments will be squeezed, and because of squeezing, there will be ये होगा. Sediments will be squeezed. Getting it? They were far. I am bringing them together. The only thing is, मैं आपको यहाँ पे sediments नहीं दिखा सकता. If I bring them together, the sediments will squeeze, and they will result into formation of mountains. Getting it? They will result into the formation of mountains. Which mountain I am talking about? Himalayas. So therefore, Himalayas came out of the Tethys Sea. Fine? Just imagine, sediments है, they are coming near each other. जब वो एक दूसरे से टकराते हैं, when they collide with each other, जो अंदर का sediment भरा हुआ है, they also get squeezed. So ये sediments है, ultimately the sediments are getting squeezed, and वो बन गया mountain. कहाँ पे force सबसे ज़्यादा है? At the sides or at the center? Sides. इसलिए कभी-कभी sides are folded, fine, but the center part does not get folded, only the sides are folded to form mountains, but the center part remains as it is, and then the center part becomes Why Tibet is flat? Why we have Himalayas on one side? Why we have, if you look at the map of Asia, Asia ka map is somewhat like this. India, Himalayas, Great Himalayas, uske baad, first is the Shivaliks, then the Middle Himalayas, then the Great Himalayas, uske baad we have Tibetan Plateau, Karakoram, Altunshan, Tenshan, Altai Shan, ये सारे mountains है. This is बीच में ही plateau है. You get an answer over there. अब the next question you ask me, Himalayas की height क्यों ज़्यादा है फिर? Why these are not as high as Himalayas? Which plate is moving north? Indian plate या Asian plate? Indian plate. So the who is pushing more? Indian plate. So किसकी height ज़्यादा होगी? Himalayas की. Getting it? If I push something more, किसकी height ज़्यादा होगी? The part from where the push is being there. So who is pushing? The Indian plate is pushing. Understood or not understood? You? How plateau is formed? This is Himalayas. Fine, plateau is behind the Himalayas. This is India. It is pushing towards Asia. So the edges have got pushed and crumbled to form the mountains. The part which did not got pushed becomes a plateau. Inside wala part. So this is Indian plate. This is Himalayas. The sides have been crumbled to form the mountains. But push andar tak nahi hua hai. Inside, where is the Tibetan plateau? Much, much inside. And therefore we have a flat. Not yet understood? This was Asia, this was the Tethys Sea, and this was India. India going northward, northward, northward. Ultimately, Tethys Sea is destroyed. He sirf Mediterranean Sea bacha hai. India pushed, and therefore we have Himalayas. But jahan pe push nahi hai, we have a Tibetan plateau. And jahan pe edge tha, we have mountains of China. This is what is the map of Asia. So Africa itna fast move nahi hua. We have seen this. This is Asia. So because Africa is still lagging behind. मैंने बताया था आपको India moved with 17 centimeters per year, Africa with 5 centimeters per year. So if I consider this as an Asia, you can see Tethys Sea is still remaining as the Mediterranean Sea, and इसी इस पे there is Himalayas. फिर there is a Tibetan plateau, and उसके बाद are the Tian Shan, Altun Shan, mountains of China. यहाँ पे फिर there is Hindu Kush mountains, because this is how India is pushing. Getting it? So this is what is the geosyncline theory. क्या difficult है इसमें? Only the words. There are 3 stages of geosyncline: glyptogenesis, orogenesis, and oricogenesis. क्यों words difficult है? Because this theory was given by Kober, who was German. So we are studying German words, nothing else. 3 stages. First stage is the stage of sedimentation, second stage is the stage of coming, third stage is the stage of mountain building. Mountain means orogenesis, and 4 stages, एक बार mountain बन गया तो reduction in height, glyptogenesis. Fine, very simple theory, that is the geosyncline theory. Getting it? So the theory of geosyncline. The long, narrow, shallow depressions, the long, narrow and shallow depressions characterized by long, narrow, shallow depressions characterized by sedimentation and subsidence. Sedimentation मतलब sediments उसमें जा रहे, subsidence means the floor is going down. Subsidence, subside, नीचे जाना, characterized by sedimentation and subsidence, is defined as a geosyncline. Is defined as an geosyncline. Is defined as a geosyncline. Now you remember geosyncline theory is also obsolete. Obsolete means old, rejected. But UPSC पूछता है. I'll give you an example of last year's question. Evaluate how far Kober's geosyncline theory explains the process of mountain building. Can you explain the mountain building? Yes. उससे पहले write a short note on geosyncline. उससे पहले explain the process of mountain building with the help of geosyncline theory. उससे पहले फिर से write a short note on geosyncline. मतलब उनके पास और कुछ पूछने के लिए नहीं है geosyncline में. कोबर and geosyncline. Short note on geosyncline भी लिखोगे, कोबर लिखोगे. Evaluate how far Kober explains geosyncline, उसमें geosyncline theory लिखनी है and some of the criticisms. बस. Fine. So next point. Geosynclines lie between two stable blocks. Geosynclines lie between two stable blocks. Two stable blocks and this blocks move towards each other blocks move towards each other due to subsidence of a floor of a geosyncline, due to subsidence of a floor of a geosyncline, subsidence of a floor of a geosyncline caused due to the sedimentation, caused due to sedimentation, sedimentation मतलब टूटना, मिट्टी टूटना, caused due to the sedimentation of this blocks, Such blocks are known as forelands. Such blocks are known as forelands. Blocks are known as forelands. If you ask me why the geosyncline is formed, just look at Arthur Holmes का diagram, जो ऊपर हमने बनाया था. Ocean floor जो है, that is a geosyncline. उसके बाजू में Sial है. Sial is easily broken and all the sediments are getting deposited on the Sima. And I told you isostatic adjustment, फिर magma will go down. That was the reason why I told you is to understand the geosyncline theory. ज़्यादा sedimentation है, that part will go down. As that part goes down, ये दो एक दूसरे की तरफ आएंगे. We'll continue then tomorrow. तुम्हारा क्लास होता है? तुम्हारा अभी जीएस का क्लास है? अच्छा, 11 बजे गए